how to tank in a dungeon, the basics to tanking, and what's important and what's not. I am not an elite player. I do not know everything, but I'll share what I do know and what I believe is true. So we'll start off with attribute points. Attribute points. I believe attribute points for me work best with most of them in health. Most of them in health is going to give me. I'm going to be able to take the big hits, and I want to be able to take the big hits. So that's an absorption. All right. Also works well with green dragon's blood, because if your health goes down, you replace 33% of your missing health. So if I get down to 5k health or 3k health, I get 20k of healing I can do with dragon's blood at 33%. 33% of 20k is what, like 6,600 heal right there. Boom. So the bigger your health pool, the bigger your green dragon's blood's going to be. Stamina is your extended life. It's like another health bar for you. You block, which is very important with stamina. You interrupt, which is even more important with stamina. Dodge roll for the things that you can't block, and taunt. There's only 2 taunts in this game. One of them is ranged, and it's Undaunted skill line, and it's magicka based. I do not use it because magicka is too high, and I use my magicka for healing, CCs, and damage shields. So I use this ransack or puncture. Ransack's morph. You can use a number of different abilities for a number of different things, but the type of ability is important, and you don't need a lot of abilities that do CCs, you don't need a lot of different abilities to heal, you don't need a lot of different abilities that do damage. You need one ability for just about everything that you want to do, and you just use that ability when you need to. That's what keeps it down to 1 bar. There's no cooldowns in this game, so that helps a lot. I prefer these abilities. You can switch and swap them any way you want, but the outcome, for my style of play, will look similar to this. So, magicka, I don't use much magicka. My magicka is 0. The health and the stamina are far more important to be a tank. I build as a tank. Some of my gear, I put a little bit of magicka on to give me a little bit of more oomph when I need it. Okay, so gear. Talking about gear, gear is pretty easy, and this is why I say gear is easy, because as a tank, you pick up lots and lots of gear in dungeons. You got friends that can make you gear and stuff. Enchanting is going to make the gear the way you want it to be made. You need more magicka, you put your magicka on your gear. You need more stamina, you put your stamina on your gear. You build your gear the way you want it. That's what makes enchanting very important in this game. Provisioning, same thing. You want those long bars, resource bars? Provisioning is the way to go. You get your group buffed up with some food. Everybody's getting long bars. Everybody likes long bars. All right. So that's how I do that. So let's go to gear, and I'll show you a little bit about my gear. Like I said, there's nothing fancy, but it's the way I roll. I use one-handed shield, bonus damage shields every 5 seconds, reduce cooldown on weapon enchantment. I'm getting damage shields a lot. They're very helpful. So that's how I build it. I'm very defensive. Regular old shield, some health on it. Find a set of gear that you like, have a friend make it, or just find gear and put the enchants on it that you want. I build for armor and health, stamina, magicka, whatever I feel like putting on it. I change it as I see fit. I change it as I need it. Necklace, health, stamina, love it. Physical resistance on the rings, spell resistance on the rings, love it. That's the way I roll. Alright, let's talk about skills a little bit. This is the fun part for me. This is where it all comes together. So, let's go up here and talk about these. Green Dragon's Blood and Igneous Shield. These two guys go hand in hand. Your Igneous Shield should be up all the time. You pop this sucker before a fight even starts, you get your group buffed up, and you keep it up. Every time it goes down, you put it back up again. Green Dragon's Blood works with Igneous Shield. So Green Dragon's Blood replaces 33% of your health. Igneous Shield, after within 7 seconds of popping your shield, you get another 30%. So I believe, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that 30% and this 33% do not stack entirely. It's not like that. What it is I get 33% health, and then I get 30% of 33%, so I get about 44% healing. And I use Green Dragon's Blood, so I get stamina as well as health. So you need your resources back? Boom, boom, right here. Stamina and health. I use Burning Talons. That's my CC. Your job as a tank is manifold. You're the guy who taunts. You're the guy who interrupts, because you're in the face. You turn the boss away from the group. Whenever you're tanking a boss, you turn them away from the group. You root trash. All trash almost never be moving around. That trash wants to stay still. So your DPS and your healers can AoE it down. You want to be buffing and healing constantly. Like I said, give your healer a break. Let your healer do things besides heal. Healers can do so much more in the game than sit there and just heal your sorry bot. You should be keeping yourself alive, these two right here. And I like corrosive armor. 3% of my health is the most I can take for 11 seconds. For any one shot. That's going to keep you alive for a long time. It's also a debuff on the enemy for taking down bad guys. There's also some passives somewhere that give you 30% of your ultimate back in resources when you use it. I think that's it's either in Earth and Heart or Draconic. Not sure. But you want to get all your passives and the things that are important to you. So speaking of that, let's go to skills. Let's go to you're not a damage dealer. You're a tank. Don't pretend to be a damage dealer. Focus your points on what you're supposed to be doing. It doesn't matter whether you're a tank, you're a DPS, or you're a healer. You want to focus your points on what you're supposed to be doing. If you're a hybrid, you're great. You can go solo very well. You can go PvP very well. But if you want to do PvE dungeons, you want to focus on one job. You want to do that job well. So Ardent Flame, yeah, it's great if you're a damage dealer. Not so good if you're a tank, in my opinion. Now you could build a tank with this stuff, but then you need magic. I don't want to split my attribute points 3 ways. I want to split my attribute points 2 ways. Draconic Power. I use 2 abilities in here: Burning Talons and Dragon's Blood. The rest of the passive is good. Earth and Heart. 2 abilities in here, and the ultimate. These are very well. I use 1 ability in here, and the ultimate. The other one's Fossilized. I use that on my backfire when I'm soloing. One-handed and shield. You have Ransack or Puncture. That's going to be your main attack on trash. That's your taunt on a boss. Okay. Shield Assault. You want to move around. You want to get around. You want to get across the board in a hurry. You want to get in and out. You use Shield Assault. Best way to move around the board. I got points in bow for when I'm soloing. Heavy armor, all of it, all the passes. Get them all. They're all going to help you. Wolf is for fun. Fighters Guild, I haven't really explored Fighter Guild too much, and neither have I done Mage, but I don't have a lot of skill points to spend at this time, so those are kind of lacking. Undaunted, there's a couple of abilities in here that are good. Bone Shield is great. It's more of a selfish shield, really, though. Inner Fire takes too much magic, so I don't use it too much. I don't PvP, as you can see. Imperial, get all the passes. I really suggest enchanting to make the gear your way, and provisioning to get those long bars, get those buffs. Alright, now let's talk about actually tanking as a job. You're the tank. You're supposed to lead the group. You gotta bring the group, you gotta keep the group moving. If you don't keep the group moving, somebody else wants to start pulling, somebody else wants to keep the group moving. Your job is to keep the group moving. By the time your resources are back up from one fight, you should be rolling into the next fight. If your resources are up, everybody's resources are probably up, because your resource, are going to get used every fight. So, first thing you want to do before a fight starts is pop your buffs. I start off with Igneous Shield. I buff the whole group. Then I fly in, I knock down an enemy, I start backpedaling. Oh, excuse me. Shield Assault. I fly in, I grab an enemy, I knock him over, I start backpedaling, and then I pop Burning Talons. Now, if my group stays back, I go in, all the enemies see me, everybody comes towards me, they all get into a nice little clump. I Burning Talons them. Every 4 seconds, I reapply the Burning Talons. Every 4 seconds, I reapply on trash. You let the DPS burn them down with AoEs. You let your healer buff the group. You let the healer replenish your resources. You let the healer do its own AoEs. You should need very little healing on trash. Doesn't matter. You should never really need to be healed that much on trash. Because you're doing this. You're keeping your shields up and you're dropping Green Dragon Blood. Corrosive Armor, my best friend, right here. This is my oh shit button, but I don't just use it in oh shit situations. I use this ultimate every time it's up. Constantly get it up. Every time you see it, pop it. Doesn't hurt. It's a lifesaver. It takes the pressure off of everybody. So, you've gone in, you're doing a trash pull. Don't let the group pull, because what happens is, DPS pulls with a bow, half the mobs go to that DPS, the other half go to the healer, because he's throwing out a hot healing over time spell. Next thing you know, you got mobs all over the screen, and you've got no control. You want control. You go in there, you start to fight, you get the aggro, you root them down. And what I do is I use Ransack as a damage ability on trash. Taunting trash? Are you kidding me? There's no taunting trash. You're trying to kill the trash. If you use taunt, I'm using it for damage on trash. It's my highest damage ability, so why not, right? If I got the stamina, use it. A boss is an entirely different story. When you're ready to fight a boss, you want to buff the group, roll in there with a shield bash, taunt. Now, you can't spam taunt on a boss. What I figured out is, if you taunt 4 or 5 times in 15 seconds, that boss is going to say, forget it, man. I'm done dealing with you. I'm going to somebody else. Happens to me a lot if I taunt too much. If I taunt too much, it goes away. So remember that. You don't want to spam taunt. You want one taunt every 7 seconds. Beautiful. Hold that boss all day long. You get trash, you get ads. The boss summons ads, whatever the case may be. Your job now is to run over there and root those ads in place so the DPS can deal with them. Keep your eye on the healer, keep your eye on your DPS. Look at them. If they're being harassed, you fly over there with your shield assault, you slam them, you taunt them, and then you bring them back over to the boss, and you go back to town on doing your healing, keeping up on your healing. You turn the boss away from your group. A lot of bosses have AoE damage. Well, you can't do much about that. But those frontal cones, those big damage frontal cones, keep those away from the group. You don't want the group getting hit by those. So, like I said, you have jobs to do. Your job is to keep enemies off of your group, and that's done with this ability right here, Burning Talons. You want to fly around the screen, you need to get from point A to point B in a hurry. This is your ability. You can get in and out of anything with this ability right here. It's great. Ransack is your taunt. You can use it too much on a boss. You can't use it too much on trash. I think that is Tanking Basics 101. Let's see if I can come up with something more here. 98% of the time, you're going to be pulling, and you should pull with something similar to this Shield Assault. Fly in there, get their attention, keep everything rooted down. That's how I do it. have a good day, and I hope this helps people tank in the normal dungeons.